because they constantly run into other people who don't give them the information that they need. In fact, they tell me when I ask them questions, they don't even answer my questions. Now, if we go back to number 2, I would emphasize that the likelihood of them answering your question is higher if you ask it than if you don't. Okay? But it will still be true that sometimes they don't answer your question. And there are these people out there who seem to consistently end up with negotiation opponents who won't tell them what they need to know. And the prediction that I make is that the people who run into opponents who won't give them information, these are people who aren't willing to give the other side information either. As Professor Cialdini will describe, humans like to reciprocate. When you yell at people, they yell back. When you apologize, they often say it was my fault too. When you refuse to answer questions that they ask of you, you're probably increasing the likelihood that they're not going to answer your questions as well. And when you give them some useful, credible, helpful information, they often begin to reciprocate, and now we can move back to strategy number 1. So I would argue 1, 2, and 3 are your normal, healthy strategies for creating value in most negotiations. But for very problematic ones, what you might consider is that when you make the other side an offer, it's a complex offer. Instead of making them one offer, consider making them 3 different offers. 3 very different offers that all happen to be equally profitable to you. Now, why would you want to offer them 3 different offers? Well, it may be that because, for reasons that you don't know, they like one of the offers better than the other 2. Okay? So that you're more likely to get their business. Okay? But let's assume that they say those are all unreasonable offers. What I would recommend is that you ask them, which of the 3 offers that you say are unacceptable do you like best? And if you won't use the word best for any of them, would you please tell me which one you find least offensive? Okay? Because what I want to know is which is the best for them, because even if they won't say yes to it, knowing which one's best tells me, it diagnoses for me what it is that they value more than I value, and now I can become more flexible. The only cost of making multiple offers is that you need to be better prepared to do it. Okay? You need to be better prepared in order to make 3 offers that are equally valuable to you. But if you can do that, you look more flexible, you're more likely to get their business, you're more likely to create value, and you're more likely to be more profitable. All right. Now, I want to tell you about one final strategy that's going to sound the least obvious. You and I were negotiating. We don't do a good job of information sharing, but we do get a deal done, and we sign it. And when the deal's done, after we've basically have just haggled to the point where we both compromised on each of the issues, and we signed it, I say to you, I have an idea. I recommend that we confirm that we have a deal done. But now that we have a deal done, that we agree to spend 1 more hour together and work together to see if there's another deal out there that would be better for you and better for me. This is not an opportunity for you to get a better price at my expense or for me to get a better price at your expense. What I want to do in the next hour is to see if we can reorganize how we structured the deal so that it's better for you and for me. If at the end of the hour, if we haven't found anything that's better for both of us, we will have wasted an hour of time. but we'll stick with the deal we already have done. But if in the next hour we find a deal that's better for both of us, we have the opportunity of ripping up the first deal and moving to our better deal instead. Can I have an extra hour of your time? Now, I have found that people with sales training are very suspicious of number 5, because people are taught in sales training, when the deal's done, quit talking about it, which I think is very good advice if you sold them a very bad used car and they live far away. Okay. But I would argue it's a bad idea for most business transactions. I would argue for business transactions, you want to always be open for a post-settlement settlement, a new settlement after the first settlement, but the ground rule should be, how do we make this deal better for both of us? Oftentimes, more and more companies are negotiating in different cultures, under different rules, negotiating in more complex environments where the regulations are changing, where the structures are changing. And the way we think about negotiation needs to change. We often think about information that's within a range that's common to us, but there's often other information out there that if we thought about, we could gain extra insight. And I want to close my session by suggesting to you that we've tried to cover some of the critical elements of how you should think about negotiation, some of the common mistakes that we make, but more broadly, our goal is to move beyond our notion of simply counting the number of passes and look for critical information that's out there. Sometimes that critical information was not on today's agenda, but the wise negotiator is looking for unique opportunities, unique challenges, and unique threats. And the more we expand our horizons, the more effective